Hi, my name is Lina. I'm one of the career advisors with IBF Careers Connect, and we are very, very excited to have our guest speaker here, Mr. Kit Boone.
Thanks, Lionel. And yeah, glad to be here. And very good afternoon to everyone who's on the call today. So yes, as what Lionel mentioned, I'll just give a quick background about myself. So I graduated in engineering from the UK. And you can also see the profile on the IBF webpage, right? So although I graduated from engineering, I realized that I like to work with people. So hence I decided to switch to join a tech consulting firm called Anderson Consulting about 20 odd years ago. Versus engineering based career. So because in a consulting company you get to see how technology can be applied to various industries to solve various business problems for different customers as well. So I think that gave me a good broad-based coverage of various kinds of technologies, various industries, various kind of business problems as well. So that I would say that is the first phase of my career. For the second phase, I wanted to specialize and focus more in a particular industry. So an opportunity came about to join UOB just over 8 years ago, and so I thought this was a good chance for me to apply all the different skills that I've learned, all the different technologies for a specific industry, and really use that to to support our business and also our customers.
Interesting. So from an engineering background, I mean, I don't want to stereotype engineers, but it's like more of a numerical, academical kind of background. Then you said that you like to converse with people. So how does that work? How does this engineering background enable you to do your job in terms of introducing technology? I guess that's not a problem, but to communicate with people, how did you manage that?
Okay, that's a very good question. To be honest, that in terms of what I learned during engineering, it didn't really matter that much when it comes to working with people and trying to solve real world problems. The commercial aspect comes about because to do any project or to deliver any technology successfully, it's not something that one single person can do. So in a way, to deliver, you are constantly exposed to the need to interact, to align different partners and colleagues to move in the direction that you want them to move, and also to resolve conflicts, right? So it's part and parcel of, I guess, the real world project delivery implementation work that we do at different places, and you also learn to understand different people's priorities and try to try to align the goals to get things done.
I see. So basically from what you were saying, problem solving seems to be the thing that keep coming out. And so can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now that's doing this problem solving things?
Right. Okay. So as as the banks are embarking on a digitalization journey, we want to offer so-called value-added services to our customers. So for example, in UOB we have Rewards Plus, and also we've participated in SG Fintech, which is first in the world initiative, public-private partnership project, to deliver a single view of your accounts and your balances. So most of this requires connectivity and integration to various partners, organizations, and businesses in order to provide new forms of services. So the technology that we use, for example, in APIs, is very key to enable such use cases.
Okay, for people that may not know what API stands for, could you give us a quick?
So I'll just give a simple analogy.
Yes.
During the earlier days of the internet, most people will interact with a with a service through your browser, or eventually through a mobile app, right? But
Okay.
eventually, there's a need for so-called a machine or an app to interact with another app over the internet. So the
Okay.
API or application programming interface is just another way for a machine to interact with another machine instead of a human to interact with the web application.
Oh,
So it's just
okay.
something that's built upon the web standards and the web technology that existed earlier.
So on that line, let's say people, like to say, oh, okay, the bank going digital transformation, the bank is going digitalizations. No, what exactly, are they talking about? I mean, API, I guess, is one of the tools. Are there any others that works together when it comes to digital transformation?
Sure. So beyond, the what I look into or work on in the day-to-day basis, when it comes to digital transformation, the customer experience is very important, and to serve the customer better, data analytics is also another enabling technology
Okay.
to provide the insights to the customers, or recommend the right products, or do a more deeper analysis on their financial profile in a very fast way, but with a huge amount of data. So there's another aspect of digitalization, which is again technology enabled, as an example. And of course, there are also many applications that are that do a very good job, but they are available on the cloud, for example. So connecting with these services, these applications also allow the customers to benefit from richer functionality and greater content and data as well.
So is it correct to say that this wave of digital transformation is due to the need of the customers, and I guess COVID makes this process even faster? Will you say that?
That's true, because the human interaction or using physical paper has to be avoided during COVID. So processes has to be actually changed and converted to digital format. So banking is just one critical industry, but there are many industries. To get your food, to buy a property, rent a property, all these has to be done without a face-to-face form of interaction, or physically handling documents, for example. So yeah, technology was able to solve some of these challenges, where you can practically do all these using just your mobile phone.
So as we say, the API is not only onto the internet, but it's actually on all digital modules or channels that we call it, on your phone, even on your smart TV, and all those things will involve what you
Correct. It's kind of like a glue that connects all the digital services together, and you can aggregate them and make use of them at different appropriate stages of a customer's journey, to deliver the right level of service.
Would you say that this starts off when, like, for example, for you guys to come up with solution, there will be a team that I would say to look out for the problem and find out what is it that is not working efficiently, and we use digital technology to try to solve it?
Correct. I think one of the key things that we need to do is try to understand what is the customer expectation, how to try to make them more efficient, make them more productive, and giving them the right advice and products. So so I think, of course, we do have many stakeholders as well, but obviously the starting with the customer is one important aspect. And sometimes we might also do our own research and understand, even if the customer may not tell us that this is what they are expecting, we think that is something that they would expect in the future as well.
Or they will appreciate it, I guess.
Correct. So that's another way of looking at it.
So there's actually a lot of things that's going on when we just call it a digital transformation. And based on what you are saying, would you see what are the areas that just because this is a finance background, what the banks are looking for in terms of knowledge? What kind of like, for example, do they need programming skills? Do they need, what kind of skills,
Right.
or hard or soft, do you think is needed in order to be involved with this age of the technology digital transformation?
Okay, so if you imagine like a funnel where you have you can be a person with very broad base set of skills rather than very deep technical depth. Of course, there are roles such as product managers where you are quite digitally savvy. You understand what a good user journey, good user experience is. You can manage a team, and you also have exposure to project management, agile methodology. You could take on the role as a product manager to to lead the team to deliver a digital product. Sorry, it's a bit yeah. Okay, the energy saving. Okay, so that's one kind of role or profile. Of course, at the intermediate level, if you are in a technology application development role, like such as myself, you do need to have a basic programming background so that you understand what the fundamentals. But I'll say that it's not too daunting because personally, I also did my own self-learning through online tutorials, books, and so on. And this was like 20 years ago, where there's not so much content on the web, and it's a lot more effort to source for the information. Because obviously engineering is not the same as software development. So it's quite, so there are some basic so-called knowledge blocks that we will need, such as database, some programming, some web application development, basic foundational skills. That should be sufficient. And of course, that probably just forms half the profile of the individual in this area. We also need to look at the soft skills. Generally, high performers, they can solve problems, they can strategize, plan, execute, and also engage well with others, right? And also be open to learn from mistakes, and also to pick up new skills along the way, right? So that is kind of like the profile of someone in technology, which is very close to building the application itself. Of course, you can even go even deeper and achieve greater specialization, for example, in security, in infrastructure, cloud technologies, and so on. If you really want to deepen your skill set and focus on that areas for your career, because in banking, especially with digitalization, the flip side is on security, because with fraud and so on, because there's no more, there's less human interaction. There's a need for very strong security in terms of cryptography, digital signings, and encryption, data privacy, and so on. So yeah, those are skills that are obviously highly in demand as well. And if you have a strong, for example, mathematical background, because cryptography is really a lot about understanding the algorithms and the mathematics behind them. That could be a possible use of analytical strengths of a person.
Okay, so I can now like have the image of the funnel. So as you're at the rim of the funnel, okay, so you may not need that much technical skills, but you may be a fresh graduate, should I say, with some knowledge. But what was just so that as you go deeper into the funnel, then the more specialized you would be, and obviously the more specialized you would be, you will be able to, you need to take certain, shall we say, courses or certification, so that you are proven to actually know how to do the job. Okay, before we go even that certification yet, I'm just curious in the sense that when you talk about, let's say you're a hiring manager, right? So for those people that have no banking domain, do you really need to know how a bank works, or is what you said informal learning is enough, or how would you go about doing it?
So in my own personal experience, I actually joined UOB around 8 years ago, and before that, I spent 15 years not in delivering technology, but not in the banking industry.
Okay.
Yeah, the industries were more like telecommunication providers and airlines. So personally, I find that if you do have a so-called good grasp of the the technology basics, it's not very difficult to acquire the banking domain knowledge, but you do need to spend your own time to talk to people and learn from them, and also do your own research, or or go through internal company repositories to to understand how things really work.
So like, I mean, in a simple term, can be the bank is willing to hire the engineer or the scientist or the person who is really in doing such things, than a banker, as long as you show that you have the ability to pick up things fast, to learn things fast, especially those that may not be related to you, such as yourself, because you said you spent a couple of years not even in banking and finance, and you managed to join UOB.
That's correct. So yeah, I would say it's definitely possible to join a bank, and learn the domain from that point onwards. Because generally what we really look out for, especially in technology, is are some of the things that I mentioned earlier, such as being able to solve problems, being able to plan and marshal a team to do what needs to be done. So those are the high performance that we really look out for. But at the same time, we also want to ensure that you are very sure and very clear in your rationale or reasons for joining the bank, for example. And very clear on your reason for taking up a career in technology, because this will be 5 to 10 years of your career that you're going to spend the time on. So we also want to make sure that the individual is very clear and joining for the right reasons.
I like the point you mentioned, because I mean that was the second question I'm going to ask, because when people that I usually meet with, they are actually mid-careerists and maybe in their 40s, they will be asking about this technology wave. Do I stand a chance? Do I have a possibility to go in, given that I do not have the so-called the banking experience? Well, of course, we are only talking about the tech part of the bank, because obviously, if you want to go to other avenues, then it's a different criteria. So we're just speaking purely on the tech point of view, on how the banks is going to look at the people, right?
Correct. So to, in a way, to demonstrate the interest in tech, typically we would like to know if the person has done some some personal projects, or taken up some self-learning. There are a lot of massive online course providers, right, such as Coursera, O'Reilly, Udemy, and so on. So there are a lot of options out there to build some basic skills and knowledge, because without doing that, you will not know how what a technology job entails. So that will reinforce the what the individual is saying around being interested and serious about a career in technology.
Okay. Oh, so it's in line with what we career advisors usually tell our candidate, that we really need to show the hiring managers, such as yourself, that they are really in it for the long run. That means they have to show their commitment, like taking up those courses that you mentioned, and to really have a clear statement of intent. Should I say that, so that they know that, so the hiring manager is assured that this is not a whim or a fancy, but this person is really, really into this. I guess not to solve the problem, right? Because basically you did mention that everything starts with, there could be a possible problem, could be a possible lacking in certain things, something needs to be bridged, and this person will really need to be able to see and really predict what may happen, and quickly come up with a solution to solve it.
Yeah, that's right. Because I would say that once you join, it can be very fast paced. So we want to ensure that we do the the new joiner a service, right, to so that they know what to expect. Because even when we do on the job training, or if we send a candidate or the new joiner to a course provider, it can be very fast paced. So we want to make sure that the individual doesn't struggle once they come on board.
I presume there will be an aptitude test during the interview.
We do have tests to look at more the soft skills and the performance to address to assess whether someone will be a strong or high performer generally. And this is no different from, I guess, any other function or department, be it tech or non-tech, right? A high performer will be a high performer, regardless of whether you're in tech or not, if you have those competencies. From a technical aspect, from a technical aspect, this is where we want to make sure that the individual again has the right profile for tech. For example, you need to be quite detail oriented. So you may be a strong leader, but if you if going to the details and being hands-on is not really the individual's preference of forte, I think that could be something that the person may struggle with if you go deeper into if you take on a role that is deeper in technology versus a more business oriented role.
I see. Okay, thanks for that clarification. Yeah, I guess from a hiring point, so as job seeker, we should also think from the hiring point of view. You also want someone that can be able to cope with what this job's going to get, because as we said from the get-go, digital transformation, everything, wow, is the in thing, is happening. I want to be part of it, but you may not be able to be part of it, not because you're not smart enough or you're not. It's just that the role itself don't fit your, should I say, your character and your personality.
Yeah, exactly, because when you do transformation and some of the projects that I've worked with, it's usually something new, somewhat uncharted, something something innovative, right? This is where the successful individual will really spend a lot of time understanding even the current situation, the current landscape, the current processes and tools, because to transform something, you must know what you're transforming, or you end up doing the wrong
That's
things,
a good one,
right?
yeah.
So understanding what is happening today at a sufficient level of detail is important. It's also important to talk to many people, because there are a lot of knowledge that may not be documented. So by learning from others and tapping on different knowledge and skills, that will give you the confidence to design something something innovative from a digitalization perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, because there will be a lot of things that even a seasoned tech practitioner may not know. But we also have to be very grounded in, I guess, the basic principles of technology as well, because without strong principles, you might hear 10 different opinions, you might not know which is the right one. So this is where you need to make a call. You need to be guided by certain principles as well when it comes to transformation.
So sure. So I'm gonna put you sort of in a spot. So from what you're saying, that there's certain experience that you can only gain through working for some time and things like that. So how does the age really play, what kind of in the part? So would it be, if I, like the audience here is going to ask, how do I get in? How do I pivot in? Will age be, I won't call it a barrier, but a concern for hiring manager?
No, I don't see that as a concern.
Okay.
In fact, age should be advantageous, because you would have gathered more experience.
I see.
Versus a younger person, which will need to be, of course, demonstrated. When you articulate, how you have solved challenges, how you have led a team, successfully to and overcome, difficulties along the way, how you're resilient, and how you learn from past mistakes and and be resilient to do better the next time around.
I'm so happy to hear this, Kit Boone, seriously, because that's what myself and our colleagues has been telling people. This it's like when you want to pivot, so-called, into this role, not that your past role or job description don't count, but I guess even on the resume or in the interview, like what you said, these are the things that the hiring manager will be looking for, like, you know, whether you led a team, whether you were successful in solving problems, how you analyze things, perhaps before, you know, basically how you work your brain in order to find the problem if there's one, and to solve it. And I guess to know who you communicate with. Communication, I guess, is very important, especially you have different stakeholders of different seniority, rank, or experience. So, so I'm so happy to hear. So these were the things that, as when you're doing your hiring, you'll be looking out for. Am I correct to say that?
Yes, definitely we will ask, you know, to understand the experience of the, you know, the person, how you know, certain problems were dealt with, and obviously, and many different ways. So problem solving is not something that, you know, can be actually taught, but you know, if you are having a mindset to constantly learn, I think that usually is a good sign. Versus an individual who thinks that, you know, he or she already knows
every day
everything, and you know, does not want to try something new. So I think there's obviously you know, element of a risk taking when you if you take on the risk of doing something new. Of course, there's a chance that it may not work out, but you know, the individual that does that and, you know, gains the knowledge along the way, in a way, it will be a worthwhile effort.
Oh, okay. And I think, I like the part about risk. So I guess in order to do something that, like in this area, there are some risks involved.
I mean, I would say there are a lot of guardrails in enterprise to ensure that obviously the final product we deliver is safe, secure, you know, performs well. So I would say the risk is really in terms of, you know, maybe having to correct your course or redo something. So I would say the impact is usually more, you know, the timeline probably gets longer, rather than, you know, delivering something that creates a problem for our customers. So it's more in terms of perhaps, you know, not being able to deliver as fast as what we envision. But there are many, obviously, quality control checks, you know, in an organization to ensure that whatever we do roll out, it is of the right level of quality and is safe and secure. Okay. So it will be more in terms of setbacks in terms of maybe timeline, or of course the cost may go up if we need to you know, redo things or fix problems along the way. But if it's a new type of product, system, you know, solution, some of this is to maybe expected. Of course, there are good stories where everything goes smoothly as well. There are such cases. But the individual who is tasked to lead that will not know upfront. So it's really, you know, applying some of the approaches that I mentioned earlier, right? Study in great detail what is there today. Learn from others. Don't just rely on your own knowledge. Of course, you need to be the one to know what is the outcome you want to achieve, right? How is this product or digital solution going to help the customer, at the same time protect them? Because, you know, we can't always trade convenience for security. So having that goal in mind and the vision, I think these are the basic ingredients for a successful transformation journey.
So I guess it's always, I hear a lot of communication. I hear a lot of seeking collaboration and things like that. So I would say that besides the hard skills, these will be the soft skills that will be that you guys will be looking out for when during the interview.
Correct. Yeah, these are the key ones. And very importantly, we also want to see an individual also, you know, trying to learn from others and not just basing on your own perspective, right? You need to understand what your limitations are and seek to fill the gaps with the knowledge from others.
Okay, good. I think the listeners here will be very happy to hear all this, because a lot of them are very fearful, and some of them are pretty discouraged, especially when they hear a lot of tech is being, shall we say, let go. How do you see this? I mean, will tech be still in demand?
So I think in general, I wouldn't say just a software, but tech in general, be it robotics or engineering. I mean, and of course software. I mean these are powerful drivers, right? To move us ahead in terms of automation and creating value and convenience. So the demand will be there. I mean we are going to even more advanced areas now, such as AI, for example.
Okay,
and so on.
ChatGPT.
Correct. And a lot more in terms of automation, because basically the idea is to leverage on creativity, right? And tech, there's also I mean, if you to be creative and to think of something, you also need the technology to bring it to life. So yeah, I wouldn't say that we will have a shortage of demand for technologies.
Oh, that's very, very good to hear. I guess I guess it depends on what the company is like, be what you will be wanting to improve upon, and then they will need that set of skill sets, people, and so they will be still hiring.
Correct, but of course, every organization want to hire the best. So so it's important for the individual to constantly learn, improve, and again go into tech for the right reasons.
I see that resonate keep coming up when you talk. Number one, if you want to go in this area, which is the hot area right now, don't go in for the wrong reason, because you most probably will not survive, or you may get a burnout, or you may find it very boring for yourself.
Exactly, that's right.
Okay, so I just want, because I know this is the most common questions. I think you sort of mentioned it before. You're talking about certs and requirements. Is it, is it a really, I mean, I would call it really a must, but you did mention there are certain things that a person should at least know about. So like things like Python is enough, or SQL, or all these things, that keep
there's no I would say specific technology programming language, for example, that that we focus on. But I would say that even if I mean, aside from formal certification, I think demonstrating that you took the initiative to try to create something, a small project or solution by yourself, I think that's something that I've seen before. To showcase something that person has done. It may be something very light on programming, or could be focusing maybe more on social media, or some kind of digital marketing work, or or initiative that a person may have done. I think those are still indicators that there's a passion for technology, and I guess the ability to take up something new and really start from the basics.
Okay, so can I say that for those of them that most probably are contemplating of taking a course, or maybe in their course, the thing that the hiring people will look out for is how you perform basically on those term projects, should I say, or those are the things that you should highlight to let.
Correct. So if you have been successful in the past in in a project, or in anything in your line of work, I think we do appreciate that person to showcase that success story, because if you are a strong performer in a I guess from a non-tech background, there's a good chance that you can be a strong performer when you move into tech, as long as you know what it entails.
Okay, and the other elephant in the room is job portals or as I think you mentioned it, talk to people. Is that how you find opportunities to get into this?
Okay, so I guess my experience is somewhat limited because I've only moved
Okay.
once. Okay. So I think there are a lot of I mean, LinkedIn, for example, is a good platform to share your profile and your experiences, and I do know recruiters use this as one avenue. So rather than directly applying for a job, a recruiter may approach you based on your profile.
Oh, okay. So I guess in a way it's sort of a electronic way of doing a networking session.
And in some cases, it might be a referral as well. So I think referrals generally can be quite successful if you are referred by someone who knows you and also knows the organization.
The work you have done.
And so the referrer can try to assess the fit, and that helps a lot as well. And you can also, of course, speak to the person that to find out more about what the work involves before signing up for it.
So how would you say a person should leave that impression? What must the person be able to do? Let's say if you because you mentioned you talk to people, so what are the things that the person should leave behind so that the people they talk to could who knows, become their referral?
Okay, so I would say that for example, if you have done the right things in your previous or current job, and the other party or colleague or manager or even subordinate thinks highly of you, that person would probably pick you as probably a first choice, because ultimately you want someone that you can depend on, right? That is trustworthy, responsible, and so on. Because ultimately we are still people that would be comfortable with people that we trust. So I think once you have established a good level of trust with others in your current organization, a referral is more likely rather than not.
Okay, thanks. You heard it there, folks. This is what we've been trying to tell you guys, how networking works, and as you hear from I'm quite a horse's mouth, but yeah, that's something that would help you to get a foot into the door through your conversation, to let people know about yourself. And as what Kit Boone say, you need to really express the correct reason why you're aspiring into this, because that's the kicker. That's the one kicker that kick you into the kick through the door. Yes. Okay, I think Kit Boone, you more or less answered most of my questions. Shall we take a look at what the audience would like to know? I think for the first questions that I would like to address, I think you did mention sort of, because the person want to know if they were to switch into this role, will I think you mentioned we're taking up a Udemy programming course enough?
Of course, there's no. I mean, it's subjective as well. So I guess when you come for the interview, we would obviously ask you what you have learned from the course.
Okay.
What are the challenges that you faced, and of course, I mean, you could have different people taking the course, but what they gain from it could be very different as well.
I like the answer.
So I think I guess only by having an interview, having a discussion, we can know whether was it just doing the course, or you actually learn something that you can apply in a different situation.
Yes, I think that I like the answer a lot, because it's not the name of the course, it's not who gave the course, it's rather what did you get out from it, and is it relevant to the role that you are applying for? Am I correct to say that?
That's right. I mean, of course, yeah. It depends on how you demonstrated your what you learn. We can then assess based on that. I mean,
Yeah,
personally, for myself, just to share a little bit around this, right? So when I mean, okay, I'll just go into a bit more technical. So when
it's
I
okay.
first started, I was tasked to develop in a particular programming language, right? But I decided to do my own self-learning, take up tutorials online to learn a different programming language, and that helped land me a role in another project which used that programming language, right? Because I was able to at least answer a yes when when the project manager was asking for people with some of these basic skills. Even though it's quite basic, you in a way you are still able to stand out from the rest who did not do anything.
Okay, so initiative also counts a lot when it comes to well, not only let's say coming to this role, but overall, whatever the role is, whether it's tech or non-tech, initiative is very important to show why you are different from the next guy.
Correct, and you typically do that if you have a strong interest,
passion for it, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, and desire to really spend time and find out and gain that knowledge. If it's not really your interest, then I think it's going to be challenging, because you may not really be able to demonstrate that you got the basics right, and it's something that you will continue to develop over time. Because if you have this interest, even if you need to recall what you've learned 10 years later, you probably can still recall most of it rather than forgetting
because
it.
I think we touched on something about the different levels of learning. So if you're passionate about it, it goes to the long-term memory.
Exactly.
It stays there.
If you forget it after 2 years, then then you have wasted the effort that you put in.
Don't want to expose your age, like those 10-year series, things that you memorize, right?
Correct. If you just memorize, then you definitely forget it, right?
Okay, I have another question. I think you sort of touched on, but they want to know, okay, if I'm a non-tech person, right, how can I also get involved with this digital transformation?
As a tech person?
As a non-tech person, yeah.
Okay.
I see. Roles out there. I think you did mention it, but just to let those people have an idea again.
Yeah. So I would say that even our business product managers need to be do not need to know programming, for example, but needs to know enough about technology. Why? Because you need to know what technology can do and cannot do. What are the limits? What are the dangers? So I will say that joining the banking today, where at least in areas where we are heavily investing, and trying to grow our capabilities in, having that digital awareness, digital savvy aspect is important, because if you are going to give the the requirements or design the journey for the customer without much knowledge of tech, you end up the product may really not be suitable or may not be doable. Because as a business, you need to tell the technology team what exactly do you want, right?
Yes.
You cannot be vague. You must know exactly how the customer will experience the product, will use the product.
Okay, so I would say that there are roles for non-tech people in this transformation, because they most probably are the front line, because they are the one that touches on the customers.
Correct.
And so from there, they'll be able to come back and say, look, my customer's having problem doing this, doing that. Is there something that we can help them with?
So there's a strong need to know how to do good design, right? So design is very important, because if you compare, let's say, Apple and some other company, the difference in their product is really the level of detail that they go through to to produce the right design. Okay, and that goes back to my previous point where, attention to detail is important. I mean, of course, important for tax, also equally important for business, because the level of detail and thinking through all the unhappy scenarios is also very important, because a good digital product will have covered all the things that could have gone wrong and handled that for the customer. So there's a lot of this effort that you may not see, because the app still works in different conditions and with different ways of using, and different so-called incorrect actions that the user may take. So having the attention of detail and thinking through all the permutations, I think if you can do that well, you can produce a good design, and definitely you can be successful then, even as a non-tech person.
Thank you. I think that that helps clarify things. So someone asked, coming from an engineering background, it's interesting, and you come into this current role, what keeps you up at night?
Okay, not much, to be honest.
Okay.
But I think I would say that definitely, having a good team is important, because for any team leader, without a strong team, you really can't drive a lot of change. So I'll say that making sure that the team is capable and also has the right opportunities to do well, and also deliver solutions and give them a sense of achievement is important. Because as you know, if you're talented in tech, it's always there's always opportunities out there. So I think making sure that we keep the team productive, and also at the same time feeling that they can contribute is important, I would say, if you are managing a team.
Okay, so that's
because without the people, then there's very little you can do.
Okay, that's good. So I have actually I have a lot of questions, just that I have to pick those that okay. Another person asked, so given that you all this technology stuff, so would that open another role such as an IT audit to come in to make sure that everything is in order? Because there will be governance and compliance. I'm sure that comes into the picture.
Yes, so well, I'll say audit and compliance are different functions, but as a tech practitioner, we do have many layers of, I'll say, controls. So audit is definitely important, and you'll be surprised that if you are doing an IT audit, you need to know more than the person that you're auditing or the team that you're auditing, because you need to uncover, I would say, gaps or areas that may have been overlooked. So being an IT audit is definitely the area that is in demand. But again, you need to be aware that the expectation is also there, that you need to be able to detect what the tech experts may have overlooked. So you need to go to an even deeper level of detail.
Okay. And related to this is, I mean, I don't want to put, I know there are things that we don't want to review what UOB plans to do, but just off your mind, do you know what are they looking for in terms of in the tech roles?
Okay, sure. I mean, of course, going to Skills Future, you can bring up the list of all the roles that we have. But I'll say that there are a few areas that are very important to our business today. So I'll say that payments is one area. Payments, probably, and of course we continue to work with partners. So being able to, roll out solutions that so-called leverage partners and service providers is important. And I think the data analytics, the machine learning aspect is also starting to emerge. And lastly, I think this is probably slightly ahead in the future, but we do think that digital currencies is also a trend that will be important in the future.
That's good.
Digital currencies, digital assets, leveraging on the distributed ledger technologies.
Okay, so you did mention about having the right intention to come in. Can you give some example, because someone wants to know what do you consider as joining for the right reason, say?
Okay, so typically, at least the area that I work in.
Yeah, talk about what you where
we
you
are, we are a change organization. So most of the work that we do is around deploying new solutions, new capabilities. So understanding how a software project works is important, and it's a it's a process where we could do it in an agile manner. There are certain activities, processes, checks and controls that goes on in that whole cycle. So yeah, so I think understanding how what the day-to-day life of a tech practitioner goes about is important. Talking to people who are living this day to day is important. So also in a way, yeah, you can, there are various ways you could research about it yourself. You could talk to others. You could yeah, I guess read about it and so on. So basically, different avenues to understand what a day in the life of a tech professional looks like.
Okay. But okay, this is another question. For a non-tech but digitally savvy person who has gone through an intensive full-time fintech course, what can that, I guess you did mention, how can that person reach out to a hiring manager? So as like what you said earlier on, you did mention that it's not about what the course is how you demonstrated what you have learned from the course.
I think taking the initiative to actually do a fintech course is actually one of the positive signs, right? When we interview, of course, it's not everything, but it is one positive criteria. So I would say that yeah, aside from looking out for the opportunities available that we have published, the other options are, I think, for mid-careers, there's TFIT as one program. But for a freshly graduated individual without the STEM programming background, there are also I think there are also initiatives out there where we go to the universities to share about the technology development programs available. So it depends, I guess, on where you are in your career.
Okay, yeah. So because you went to take the course, and again, it because you sort of give up some of the time to want to learn, and that is appreciated by the hiring team. But as you mentioned, more important is need to emphasize what you have learned, what you have done, and how you can use it on the role that you are applying for.
Yep.
Okay. So what is your advice, when it comes to facing they're saying that, at times there are more challenges for one to venture into something that is totally new, another industry or things like that. How, like even for yourself, how did you manage to make that switch? Can you advise the people out there so that they are ready in their mind before they cross that divide? from your own
Okay.
experience. Yeah.
Okay, so I would say that firstly, probably have a good understanding of where your strengths are, and try to maximize that when you first start off, and of course spend a lot of effort to learn about the areas where obviously there is a knowledge gap. And I would say that it's also important to, I guess, to get help, get support. If it's done the right way. I mean, again, after you have done what you could, try to learn what you could, and there's still some things that you don't know or unable to do. I think in any organization there will be people that you would get help from.
Okay.
And tap on their knowledge, and it really helps to just talk to people, and you can, I mean, at least from what I understand, what I experience, you definitely learn a lot that way, because when you engage in a conversation, there's a lot more that a person can share. Tech, I would say, is definitely an enriching career, at least personally. That there's just so much diversity in that, and so many ways in which it can be applied. And I would say that even our government is also really pushing hard to to build up this area, especially in banking as well, to in a way strengthen the tech capabilities over here.
Okay.
So I think it's I would say, yeah, these are definitely positive signs that I can observe.
Okay, and so it for sure that it's going to be around for unforeseeable future is something that is going to be there. So you don't have to worry that suddenly you find yourself out. But the key thing is you keep mentioning is to upgrade and upskill yourself.
Correct, and I mean it's constantly changing. So if you're an individual that doesn't like to just do the same thing, again and again, obviously tech is definitely one area that would not be like that. I would say. And I would say, yeah, and there's a lot of opportunities to do hands-on work if you like that. Even at some companies, the senior people also do hands-on, right?
Okay.
Out of passion, and you do gain respect from others that way. So I think, yeah, I would say that I'm glad to see even organizations like IBF, spending the effort to organize these these outreaches.
Thank you. Thank you, Kit Boone. Guys out there that's still here, I'm sorry that we cannot answer all your questions. However, if you would like some advice in terms of your career advice, or maybe as what you said, some of the question on us, how to get into digital transformation, things like that, make an appointment to see a career advisor. We will do our best to help you move closer to your career aspiration. I think the email to reach us is in the chat. So just take a look there and then make an appointment to see us. With that, Kit Boone, I thank you so much for taking your time to share your career journey with us, to share your thoughts, your insights.